starting with wheels, then the pre-wash, then the wash, then the decontamination and claying, the drying, the actual machine polishing, the waxing or protecting, and then the finishing touches like the tires and the glass. So by the end of this video, you should be able to take a car that's in terrible condition and transform it into one that looks almost perfect. If this is not your first Mick Drives Cars video, maybe subscribe and leave a like. Just some fundamentals. For most of this video, I will be using a pressure washer. Don't think that you need to go out and buy a pressure washer or you won't get the same results as me without a pressure washer. All this really does is allow you to have snow foam and removes more of the dirt with the water, which is a bit safer. So all this is really going to help you with is having a safer wash. If all you've got is a garden hose, you can get very similar results. You might just have to go over the panel a few more times. It's not a big deal. And during every stage of the wash process, I'll be telling you alternatives to the more expensive methods that I'm using, so this video is applicable to absolutely anybody. Let me take you on a quick walk around and show you the condition right now. Yeah, it's not great. So let's get into wheels first. So when it comes to wheels, the absolute minimum you need is a bucket, a little foam jiggly thing, because with this you can do both the front of the wheel and inside the barrel, and one of my favourite products of all time, Kokemi Green Star. If there's one thing you buy from this whole video, buy this. That's not sponsored, by the way. Now, the reason you want Green Star is actually not to put it in the bucket, is because you're going to mix it up in a little spray bottle at between 5:1 or 10:1. That means 1 part product, 10 parts water, 1 part product, 5 parts water. And what this will do is this will act as the chemical that you're going to use to clean your wheels. You can buy like real wheel cleaners. I've got one in the garage, but I don't use it often because this stuff is so good. Realistically, that's all you need for wheels. But to make your life easier, what you can do is a barrel brush to go inside the barrel of the wheel. That's really useful. What you might want is a soft bristle brush to do the face of the wheel. Put that in there. A tyre brush is also really, really good. While you're doing the wheels, you can also clean the tyres, get that brown rubbish off. And then, I don't even know if we're going to use this one today, but I like having a really small brush to get into the wheel nuts. If you've got really busy wheels, this is brilliant. For me, the wheels on my Mazda are fairly simple, so we won't even use this today. In the bucket, we're just going to do a standard shampoo. You can take your pick. I like Chemical Guys Mr. Pink or Kokemi Gentle Snow Foam. Those are my two favourites for like a gentle car wash. That's it, our wheel bucket's ready. Now if you want to level up and not go around the car, you know, spraying, you can get a pump foaming thing. What this does is you pump this up and then you just have a button to press to release the liquid. Now we're just going to do one wheel at a time. We're going to hit the wheels, make sure you get the tyres too. And we'll do inside the wheel arches. So my favourite strategy for wheels is to do them in a 2-stage. Stage 1, we've sprayed the chemical, we're going to rinse it off without touching the wheel, and then we're going to go in and touch the wheel. This way it just minimises the risk of scratching it. Right then, I have actually gone back for the little trigger sprayer. The benefit of these is they're a bit more accurate, and I want to just get the tyre so we can use the tyre brush. Right then, we're going to start with the tyres. You can see all the browning that's come off of them, and this will just mean that tyres get that really nice matte look, and when we apply a dressing to them, they're going to look a lot better. Next, we're going to go in for the barrel. All we're trying to do with this guy is get the actual barrel of the wheel, not so much the face. You can also use one of these to go over the wheel arch. Look at the amount of dirt there. Didn't get it off with the pressure washer. And this is why you want a separate bucket for your wheels to your paint. So now we're going to take this soft bristle brush and we're just going to do the face. boom, that's it. You've got perfect wheels. Just a little bonus, because I'm not going to be machine polishing the wheels or correcting them, I can do the protection on them at this point. The brand doesn't matter, guys. It's some wet wax. The way you use this is on a wet surface, you spray it, you rinse it, you dry it. It's like the most idiot-proof form of protection. Doesn't last a super long time, but it's really easy to use and simple. One of the benefits of protection like this is that it makes the wheel easier to clean long term. Same thing goes for your paint. If you've got really good wax on your paint, a lot of the dirt will just fall away. That's why it's really useful on wheels, because they generally get the dirtiest out of any part of the car. There you go, you can instantly see how the water's beading up rather than just sitting flat on there. Really, really nice, really, really useful. So next, the pre-wash stage. This is actually really important, as silly as it sounds to do a wash before you actually wash. But car paint will have a lot of dirt and material on it. And if you take one of these and start going over the dirty paint, it's just going to get trapped in here and end up scratching your paint, putting swirls in your paint. It's not going to be good. So what you want to do is you want to break it up into 2 stages so that you can get rid of most of the dirt before you actually touch the panel. There's a number of ways to do this. If you don't have a pressure washer, you don't have a foam cannon, literally the same Green Star in the same little trigger sprayer, go around the car, soak it, rinse it. That's a really easy way to do it. This is why I said if you buy one product, buy this, because it's just so useful in so many different ways. The modern way to do a pre-wash is with a foam cannon. And my favorite snow foam, which is Built Hamber Touchless. Mix this up at 1 to 10 in the snow foam cannon. We're just gonna fill that up with warm water. You can mix this stuff up at like 1 to 20 and you'll still get great snow foam. You can also use normal shampoos like Mr. Pink or Gentle Snow Foam or any of the other million shampoos on the market to make one of these. The great thing about Touchless is that it's really good at stripping stuff off of the paint like dirt and contamination and all sorts of stuff. So, big fan. You can see here all of this dirt basically. This is what the snow foam is going to strip off. We should be left with nearly clean paint before we start touching it. I always see people doing that in Instagram Reels, so I thought I'd do it to look cool. See what I was talking about with the thickness. It's brilliant. You know what, I'm not used to washing such a small car, so I've actually got loads left. It's one of the most satisfying parts of washing a car. I love using snow foam. If you get Built Hamber Touchless, it won't stain your driveway, and it's sugar based, so it's not going to hurt the grass or any of the plants. You can see here where the Touchless has kind of come down. The paint's already perfectly clean. And that is the point of the snow foam, and you don't ever want to let this dry on the surface. You can see it's kind of already starting to dry because this is the side of the car that's facing the sun. So soon enough we need to get on this and rinse it out of here. You'll notice if you have used a snow foam, especially one like Touchless that's got some surfactants and is a bit more high tech, it's quite clingy. You've got to encourage it to get off the panel, which is a bit tricky. If you've just gone around with a spray bottle of Green Star or something like that, it's much easier. This is actually a really important step, and you want to make sure that this beam of water that's coming out of your gun touches every inch of the car's paint. See, I've left a little spot there. And there. It happens. You're going to go over again with the mitt anyway, so it's not the end of the world. You'll notice that I tend to do one panel at a time quite methodically, left to right, top to bottom. That way you can ensure you don't miss stuff. So this is a good teaching point. This type of embedded stuff that you can't really get out with the water, You don't want to try and grab a mitt and start rubbing away at this. This will come off in the decontamination stage or in the wash stage, and we'll get to that later. Don't start grabbing at that with your fingernail and trying to get it off. That's not good. Perfect, that's our pre-wash done. Basically, I can run my hands along here and there's no dirt remaining. This was one of the dirtiest parts of the car. You can just see there is a little bit remaining, and that's what we'll get off with the mitt. But it's pretty good. Right then, the next step, hand washing time. So I prepared this bucket earlier. It's just the same thing as the wheel bucket. It's just gentle snow foam, bit of water. But in this one, all we've got is a mitt. Few key things to remember. You never want to put any pressure on the paint. All you want to do is the weight of your hand and the mitt, basically. No more than that. Do it logically, so you minimize your chance of missing spots. This is probably the most straightforward step that everybody knows about, you know. People used to do it with sponges. Don't ever use a sponge. Get a good microfiber wash mitt. I like doing the flat surfaces first, but you can all do it however you like to do it. It doesn't massively matter. That's that done. And now we rinse. Same story as with the snow foam. It's funny actually, in a video about washing cars, the wash stage is by far the quickest out of all the stages. And there we have it. At this stage, the car is actually clean. There should be no dirt remaining anywhere on the paint, and there isn't. And if you were just washing the car, this is where it would end. You would dry it, you would apply a wax or a sealant or a quick detail or whatever you wanted, and you'd be done. But that's not what we're doing today. We're doing a full detail, which means we're going to be machine polishing this paint. And if you're machine polishing, you have to remove the embedded contaminants. So there might be on this paint, as I run my hand over it, I can feel little bits of grit. You can just about see them. So what we have to do is something called a decontamination. This is the next stage. There are two types of decontamination. There's chemical decontamination, which is using chemicals to get rid of the contaminants. And there's physical decontamination, which is running clay over the surface of the paint. We're going to do both of those today. We're going to start with the chemical. Let's get to it. The chemical we're going to use is Autogrim Magma. And basically what this is going to do, any of the brake dust and other types of metal, it's just going to dissolve them. So we're going to go around, spray this everywhere, rinse it off. You can see the whole car going this chalky colour. This is the magma actually reacting with all the surface contaminants and breaking them down. Alright, so that's the chemical side of this done. We're now going to do the mechanical side of this. For a long time, claying cars was always done with physical clay. The modern way to do this is with a clay mitt, where the whole front of this is a clay surface. It just means that if you drop it on the floor, it's not ruined. We're also going to use something as clay lube, optimum no rinse, but it can be diluted many different ways for many different purposes. And at 32:1, it's a clay lube. So this is what we're going to use. You can buy a dedicated clay lube if you want to, but I don't know how often I'm actually going to clay a car, so I figured it's easier just to do it like this. Now all we're going to do is we're going to spray this and we're going to rub this over every inch of the car's surface, and that should have us ready to machine polish. So we're going to do this with absolutely minimal pressure. I'm going to do a crosshatch pattern. I'm going to go up and down, and then I'm going to go left to right. And now if I feel this part of the paint, it's absolutely perfectly smooth, and if I feel a bit that I haven't done, oh yeah, it's all gritty and horrible, whereas this is silky smooth. Brilliant. Now one thing that's really important about this process is that when you do this, you are ever so slightly going to be scratching your paint. The detailing community will call it marring. You can call it whatever you want, but you are putting fine little scratches into your paint when you clay the car. If you're going to go to the effort of doing this, you do the machine polish stage afterwards. You never really want to clay the car like this and then not polish it. You can even hear it. When I'm going over the first few times, it sounds like a zipper, just as that clay is picking up all the contamination. Much smoother now. Alright, that's it. The whole car is clayed. I was rinsing this with the pressure washer in between panels, and I actually used the entire bottle of O&R. So actually, if you wanted to buy yourself a pre-mixed bottle of clay lube, like a real one, it's actually not a bad purchase, because if you're going to do a whole car, you'll probably blow through the whole bottle. What I was worried about is buying one and then having it sit on the shelf for ages and ages because I'm not using it. Like this tar remover, for example. You know, I had a few spots of tar on another car, so I used this, and then you've got the whole bottle because you've got nothing to do with it. So at this point, it's basically ready for the machine polish now. The surface of this paint is now absolutely buttery smooth. It's wonderful. By the way, the only reason I'm rinsing the car again is because I've been a numpty and I've done this in direct sunlight, and the O&R, the clay lube, has actually dried on the car. So I've got to rinse it again to be able to dry it correctly. If you are not an idiot like me and you've done it in the shade, then you can just dry the car from O&R and not have to do a whole nother rinse. One more thing to add, and one more reason why you want to polish and basically reset your car after you do this, is that this will strip any protection you might have had on the car. So if you see here, this water is just pooling up and sliding off the paint as it normally would. There is no protection on this paint because we've essentially abraded it away. And when we machine polish, we will again remove absolutely any type of protection or anything that is on this paint. So just be ready for that. Once you do all these steps, you will then have to wax or seal or ceramic coat the car. Right then, drying. Everyone will have their own way that they like to do this. But my favourite system is to use 2 towels. One towel for the wheels. So this is like an old drying towel I've had for absolutely years. It's probably not good anymore for using on paint, but I use it for the wheels. And then a really nice, plush, chemicalized woolly mammoth. It's my favourite drying towel for the actual paint. So what we'll do is we'll start with the paint and then we'll do the wheels last. In terms of technique, it's really simple. You basically want to use no pressure whatsoever and just slide everything off the paint. There'll be some areas where you have to actually grab the towel and slide it, but try to use as little pressure as possible. Most of the swirls in your car's paint will come from the drying stage rather than the washing stage, because when you're washing, you've got water on the surface. There's a lubricant. When you're drying, you're going to be bringing it back to basically nothing at all. Drying is probably the riskiest stage of washing a car. So just be careful, don't put too much pressure. If you're drying and you see little spots that have been missed or anything like that, don't get a corner of this and start rubbing at it. Very bad. All you're doing is as gently as possibly just removing the excess water. That's literally it. You can also, and this is especially useful if you're not doing all the stages and you're just washing your car like a normal person, you can combine the drying with a protection. So you can use something like a quick detailer and then dry, and then you can basically save yourself time. You're drying and protecting the car at the same time. One tip about drying, it's a really good indicator if you've done a good job cleaning your car by simply looking at your drying towel. So if there's any dirt on that, you know you've missed spots and you haven't done it very well. I've actually got an example of this with the wheels. You can see little dark spots there where there was dirt left over on the wheels. That's not ideal. You don't want to do that because when you're drying, you're scraping that stuff all over the place. Another important point to remember, if you're going to be doing machine polishing, is to dry all the door jambs. I mean, you should do that anyway when you're washing the car. But you see, anything like that, if that works its way out onto your paint when you're machine polishing, it's going to get caught in the pad and it's going to go all over the car. Similarly, a really useful tool, if you can get one, is one of these little fans. What that will do is make sure that you haven't got any trapped water and any bits of trim in and around the glass that's really hard to dry. Just going to dilute what's on your pad. You're not going to get the cut that you want. You can also buy massive ones that are like 4 times the size of this, and you can dry the whole car with it. By that point, you've just bought a leaf blower, so... That's it. We're done. Now, to most people, that would look like a perfectly clean car. We're detailers, aren't we? All I can do is, now that the car's clean, I'm noticing every swirl and scratch on this paint, and they're all over the bloody thing, which really annoys me. The only way to get rid of those is with a machine polish. So that's what we're going to do next. Okay, some considerations for you when you're machine polishing. This is a dual action polisher. That means the pad spins, it also wobbles on its axis. So it's got 2 different actions. For anybody that's worried about damaging the clear coat on your car, make sure you get a dual action polisher. If you get what's called a rotary polisher, which just spins, there's a higher chance that on any of these edges, on anything that's a bit sharp, you're more likely to break through the clear coat with a rotary polisher. But these dual actions, as long as you're not an idiot, and you don't just hold it down in one place, you should pretty much be fine. Pad selection is a big thing. You can get some pads that are a bit stiffer, and some pads that are a bit softer. The softer ones will give you more gloss. We call that finishing well. The ones that are stiffer will give you more cut, or they'll remove the defects and scratches better. Because of the compound that I'm using, which is fine cut, which is kind of made to be used in a one step, a stiffer pad has worked really well for me, and it's meant that I can cut and finish at the same time. A few bits about the technique of using these things. I learnt the hard way. When you turn the machine on, have the pad touching the paint. So you want to place it down, then turn it on, and before lifting it up, also turn it off. Basically, you don't want this spinning without touching the paint. The reason for that is when you lift it up and it's spinning, it's going to eject compound absolutely everywhere. And I had that happen to me twice. Once on the back window and once on the front. On the paint, it's actually not too bad. You can get it off, just wipe it down. If you get it on this plastic trim, especially in these little gaps here like I did, you're gonna have an absolute nightmare. So I had to go in here with a little cloth and wipe out each one of those little... I just spent half an hour doing that. Not fun. If you're using this as a how-to, definitely one to take away. Now the reason we machine polish is because... give you guys a close-up here and a slightly better view. You can see all those scratches. More on here, you can see all that marring. Long scratch there. There's just, if I'm honest about it, the car's pretty much covered in them. So what I think we're going to do is we'll use this rear boot lid, which is quite bad, as a test. This is, by the way, just a basic bitch machine polisher I got on Amazon. It was like, I don't know, 60 quid or something. You don't need the latest and greatest. We'll start off on a slow speed to get this all spread out correctly, and then we'll go to a higher speed and actually do the cutting. Alright. It's a bit sticky when you're buffing it away, but that's okay. Let's see if we've achieved what we wanted to achieve. I'll bring you guys in for a close-up. Most of the scratches have been removed. There's a few deeper ones that are remaining. If you compare it to this side, which hasn't been touched, there's just crap all over the paint, oxidation, rubbish. And And then if we move over to here, it's pretty damn good. So I've just gone and redone the entire boot lid. And now basically the whole boot lid is bloody perfect. There are some like larger isolated scratches, and to get rid of those you probably would have to do a two-step. It's not perfect, but it's, I would say, something like 90% of the defects have been removed, and it looks really glossy and nice. I think that's fantastic. I'm really happy with that. Now I've got to do the rest of the entire car. Just for context, the wheels, pre-wash, wash, and decon took me 4 hours. So although this is going to look really cool on YouTube and I've done it in such a short time, X, Y, and Z, I really haven't. It's a lot of work. This one boot lid has probably taken me about half an hour. Just going over it, making sure I've got it right. You can still see I've missed some, haven't done a good job with the wipe. Oh, it's smooth as a baby's bottom. Absolutely wonderful. So I've just done the roof. It looks absolutely phenomenal, but I had a learning, teaching moment for you guys. You can see the state of the pad. I didn't realize this was trim, and I just clipped this part, and I think a bit of the paint transferred off of there onto here, which is obviously not ideal. And this is a great reason why everybody should be taping the trim when they do this. You might notice I haven't, because I'm an idiot and I always think everything's going to be fine. And largely it is, because I haven't damaged the trim or anything, but I have messed up my pad. Okay, we're actually now, believe it or not, on day 2 of this video. I ran out of daylight yesterday. I had this light in one hand like this and the polisher in the other hand, and it was just a bad day. But the good news is the majority of the car is done. All the big panels are done. You can see like the clarity of the paint is absolutely fantastic. There's a few bits that I haven't wiped or whatever, but that's not the paint, that's just me being an idiot. There are 2 bits that I haven't done because they're a bit more intricate, so I left them for today, which is going to be the wing mirrors and this windscreen surround. So we're going to do those today, and then we should have basically a completely corrected car that we can go onto the protection stage for. This polisher is certainly too big to be doing more intricate stuff. So my genius idea is I'm going to use the polish just in the center of the pad. I'm going to try not to get it onto the outer edges, and hopefully that will mean I can just use the middle and kind of go over. So the pad will be touching this trim, but the compound will not go onto the trim. Fingers crossed this will work. I don't actually know if it will. This could go the worst of everything I've done so far. Let's find out. Alright, so that's that done. Mirrors are looking great now. This is wonderfully silky smooth and glossy. The only bit we have remaining now are the little intricate areas that I just can't fit a polisher into. So what I've got is a selection of hand applicators, and there's little bits that I'm going to do by hand. For example, inside the door handle, we're going to use the exact same compound just to keep it uniform across it all. I mean, if you didn't have a machine polisher, you could do the whole car like this. It's just going to take an ungodly amount of time. I don't actually know how much effect this is going to have, to be honest. By the end of it, we might have a slightly neater area on the car. And see if we made any difference whatsoever. I don't know if that actually made a huge amount of difference. And the top it did a bit. Look, I'll take the win. It was never going to be perfect by hand, and that's kind of what you would expect when you do the entire car by hand. Alright, that's it. The entire car is done as far as polishing goes. That was a long, arduous process. If the wash and decontamination took 4 hours, I was probably correcting this car for about 6 to 8 hours. Definitely not going to do it in one day, I don't think, even on a small car like this. But the car does look absolutely fantastic. It's silky smooth. It's super glossy. I mean, just look at it. It looks brilliant. Now that we've clayed and polished the car, there is no protection on this car whatsoever. So this clear coat is bare. And what we need to do now is protect it. And there's a few different schools of thought when it comes to protecting car paint. You've got waxes, you've got sealants, and you've got ceramic coatings. A wax comes in many different forms. This is one in a bottle. We'd call this a liquid wax. This is technically a sealant. It says wax. It's a synthetic product. This is using SiO2. This is a sealant. And then you can get little glass bottles that are ceramic coatings. Generally, waxes will need to be reapplied the most often because they don't last as long, but they'll give you a really deep, rich shine to the car. Sealants are generally quite easy to apply, last a good amount of time, give the car good shine, and are really hydrophobic, so the water just slides off the car. This is the most popular these days for a reason. And then ceramic coatings are tricky to apply, but they can last, you know, some of them will last a year or two, some of them will last 5 to 8 years. Really depends on which one you buy. I think for this car, I really enjoy washing it. It's a small body, so it's not too much work to reapply waxes. And it's been a long time since I put a wax on a car, actually. So I think we're going to go liquid wax for this one. The car already looks bloody brilliant. I think this is going to really make it glow. So let's get to it. Now, the application for waxes is pretty much idiot-proof. All you do is you get a little applicator. It can be foam, not a dirty one like this. I use this for tyres, which we'll get to. It can be foam, it can be microfiber, doesn't really matter. To be honest, you could take one of these polishing pads and apply it to this and go around the car. What I'll do is I've been using this boot lid as kind of a demonstration area, so we'll keep that trend going, and I'll do half of this boot lid in the wax, show you how to apply it, we'll take it off, and we'll see if we can see a difference. You've probably all heard the phrase wax on, wax off. It's a homage to this is really easy to use. You just spread this throughout the panel. Some people like to do a crosshatch pattern. When it comes to waxes, I like to do little circles. And then what you're waiting for is for it to flash. The way you can check that is by just running your finger along it. And if it still looks greasy, it's not done. But if it wipes away with your finger, you know it's good to go. Generally, this takes like a minute or so. Every wax is different. Some of them are a bit nightmarish and will take a lot of work to get off the panel. Some of them, are, like this one, are super easy to use. There you go. You see how that's all gone clear pretty much compared to this milky one? That means we're ready to buff. And then you basically just run a towel over it. It comes off incredibly easily. There we go. Now let's grab the light and see if we can see a difference. Oh, that is deep and rich. That's looking absolutely brilliant. Let's see if we can see a difference going across to here. See, there's just a little bit of hazing on this side. When you come to this side, it's like this really saturated blue. I don't know if that's going to come across on camera, but this side definitely looks better. Big win. That looks phenomenal to me. If you want a cheat code to do this process a little bit faster, I find it's good to do the car in big sections. So I did the boot lid, this deck lid, the roof, the surround, and the bonnet. And by the time I'd finished waxing the bonnet, the roof was ready to buff. It was dry. I did the pinky test. So then you buff it from here to the front, and you can move on to the next stage, which I've done here. So I've done the wing, the door, and the rear quarter. And just as I've finished the rear quarter, I can come back to the first one I did, and it's ready to buff away. So that's just a way to speed up the process, because if you do one panel, then wait, then buff, then do the next panel, it's going to take you forever. So yeah, just do a few panels, and then go back to the first one and buff. Look at this car positively glowing. The wax does make a difference. I think if you do a proper two-step machine polish, all the wax is going to do is give it some protection. But in my case, because I did just a one-step, and it didn't completely remove every defect in the paint, the wax has just covered and filled in and hidden some of those defects. So the car looks even better. I'm really happy with that. I think that's the cleanest car I've ever had. I think that might be a better paint quality right now than the M2 was. It's 2 days of work to clean an MX-5. I don't think many people are going to do that, but I'm pretty happy with myself. I think that looks brilliant. Right then, let's get into the final bits, the finishing touches. One thing that always goes a really, really long way is a tire dressing. I mean, you guys have probably heard the meme, right? That if anything on your car is broken or old, just dip it in tire dressing and it will look like new. That's pretty true. My favorite tire dressing is Car Pro Pearl. Let's whiz this on the wheels. You can get a real tire dressing applicator, which is really useful because it allows you to get into the edge of the tire. Unfortunately, my one disintegrated, so we're going to have to make do. I've been just using this little foam pad. This stuff, as most of the products that I like to use, is pretty idiot-proof. I like to prime it with a few on here. Stick some on the tire itself. Some people like a really, really glossy tire. I'm not a huge fan. So whenever I do this, I tend to go on the light side. I don't like using a huge amount of product because then the wheel gets really glossy and I don't like that. That would be too glossy for me, but I know for a fact this is going to like cure down and it's not going to be quite that bad. Here's the before and the after. It does make a difference. Having those darker tires does just set the car off, doesn't it? Makes the wheels pop out a bit more. And when it comes to the absolute final step, which is glass, all you have to do is once you've got a perfectly clean car, you get this product here. This is invisible glass. This stuff is the best glass cleaner I've ever found. You just get a little cloth, spray this on one side, wipe the glass down, flip the towel, buff it streak free. Glass is always a bit of a nightmare, to be honest. But if you use this, you'll be fine. So now we get to do something really satisfying. If you're new to the channel, I bought this car with the intentions to do a lot of different projects with it. One of the projects, the first ones, was to fix the paint. I do believe we can well and truly tick that off. It's absolutely glowing. Looks fantastic. If you want to see the rest of the things I'm going to do, you can subscribe. I'm going to quickly run outside and take some beauty shots of this car for the half an hour it's going to remain clean in the UK weather. Hope you enjoy.